I was sitting in my favorite coffee shop in Portland, Oregon, rain streaming down the windows, when my phone buzzed with a message I never expected to see. It was from Brooke. 5 years of silence, and then just 4 words. Are you still single? I could not help but smile because the woman who once told me I would always be waiting for her had no idea how much my life had changed. Before we dive into this story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. Stick around because what life did to Brooke is something I never could have predicted. And honestly, I think you will find this story incredibly satisfying. To understand why that text message meant so much, I need to take you back 7 years ago. I was 24 years old, fresh out of college with a computer science degree, working as an entry-level software engineer at a small tech company in Portland. I was not making great money, but I was proud of my job and optimistic about my future. My apartment was tiny, barely 600 square feet, but it was mine. I had worked hard to get where I was, and I believed bigger things were coming. That is when I met Brooke. It was at a birthday party for my best friend Marcus. He had invited a bunch of people I did not know, and honestly, I was thinking about leaving early when I noticed her across the room. She was 23 with this infectious smile that seemed to light up whatever space she occupied. She worked at a high-end boutique downtown selling designer clothes to wealthy customers. Everything about her radiated confidence. We started talking, and I could not believe how easy the conversation flowed. We discovered we both loved hiking the trails in Forest Park. We both preferred indie films over blockbusters. We were both obsessed with cats. By the end of the night, we had exchanged numbers and made plans to get coffee the following weekend. That first date turned into a second, then a third. I took her hiking at Pittock Mansion, where we watched the sunset over the city. She invited me to a private screening of a French film at one of those tiny independent theaters. We spent entire Sundays in my small kitchen attempting to cook elaborate meals that usually ended in laughter and takeout instead. After 3 months, we made it official. I remember the exact moment she became my girlfriend. We were sitting on my couch watching the rain fall outside, and she turned to me and said, "You are different from other guys I have dated. You actually listen to me. You make me feel seen." Those words meant everything to me. I introduced her to my family that Thanksgiving. My mother adored her instantly. She pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered, "Do not let this one go. She is special." I had no intention of letting her go. I was already imagining our future together. Brooke had dreams of opening her own boutique someday. She would describe it in vivid detail, the minimalist design, the curated collections, the location in the Pearl District. I promised to support her every step of the way. I meant it with my whole heart. But looking back now, I can see the warning signs I chose to ignore. About 8 months into our relationship, something started to shift. It was subtle at first. Brooke began making comments about my apartment. "It is just so small in here. Do you not feel cramped?" Then she started comparing me to other people. One name came up more than others: Derek. He was a senior manager at some big corporation downtown. According to Brooke, he drove a BMW and wore designer suits and took clients to expensive restaurants. "Derek got another promotion," she would mention casually. "He is going to be a director before he turns 30. Is not that impressive? I tried not to let it bother me. I told myself she was just making conversation, just talking about her day at work. But then the comments became more pointed. "Why have not you asked for a raise? You have been at that company for 2 years now. My friend's boyfriend just bought a house, at 26. Sometimes I look at our life and wonder if this is really it." One evening after a particularly long day at work, she said something that cut deep. We were eating dinner and out of nowhere she looked at me and said, "Sometimes I wonder if I am settling for less than I deserve." I put my fork down. "What do you mean?" She shrugged like it was nothing. "I do not know. Forget I said anything." But I could not forget it. Those words buried themselves in my chest like a splinter I could not remove. I started working longer hours trying to prove myself, trying to be enough for her. I did not realize then that no amount of effort would ever satisfy someone who was already looking for the exit. By the time we hit our second year together, Brooke had become a different person. Or maybe she had always been this person, and I was only now seeing the truth. She started going out more frequently with what she called her new work friends. These outings never included me. When I asked if I could join, she would wave her hand dismissively and say, "It is just a girls' night. You would be bored." Her phone habits changed too. She used to leave it lying around without a care, but now it was always face down on the table. She added a new password that she refused to share. Whenever it buzzed, she would grab it quickly, angling the screen away from me. The comparisons to Derek intensified. Derek is taking the whole team to Hawaii for a company retreat. Can you imagine? Derek said the funniest thing at lunch today. Derek thinks I have real potential in the fashion industry. He says I am wasting my talent at that boutique. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask why she was spending so much time with Derek if she was supposedly in love with me. But I was afraid of the answer. So I stayed quiet, worked harder, and pretended everything was fine. It was not fine. One Thursday evening, Brooke came home and went straight to the shower, leaving her phone on the kitchen counter. I was not planning to look at it. I had never been that kind of boyfriend. But when the screen lit up with a notification, I could not help but see the name. Derek. And the preview of the message. "Last night was amazing. When are you going to tell him?" My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone. I told myself I should put it down, that I was violating her privacy, that there had to be an explanation. But something in my gut already knew the truth. I scrolled through their conversation. It had been going on for over 2 months. The messages were filled with flirtation plans to meet up inside jokes that excluded me entirely. Derek promised to take her to Paris. He bought her expensive gifts. He told her she deserved better than a boring tech guy who would never amount to anything. But the message that destroyed me was from Brooke herself. She had written, "He is just my safety net. Boring, but stable. Nothing special." I read those words 3 times, each time feeling like another piece of my heart was being ripped away. 2 years of my life. 2 years of loving her, supporting her, believing in us. And I was nothing but a safety net. I heard the shower turn off. I put the phone back exactly where she had left it and sat down at the kitchen table, trying to keep my composure. When Brooke walked out, toweling her hair dry, I looked at her and said, "Who is Derek?" Her face went pale for just a second before she recovered. "What are you talking about?" "I saw the messages, Brooke. I know everything." I expected her to apologize, to cry, to beg for forgiveness. What I did not expect was anger. "You went through my phone," she shouted. "How dare you invade my privacy like that? Are you serious right now? You have been cheating on me for months, and you are mad that I found out." What followed was the most painful conversation of my life. Brooke did not deny the affair. She did not even seem ashamed of it. Instead, she turned everything around on me. "If you were more ambitious, I would not have to look elsewhere," she said, her voice cold. "Derek can give me the life I deserve." "What can you give me?" "A 600-square-foot apartment and takeout on weekends." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. "I loved you," I said quietly. "I thought we were building something together." She laughed. It was not a kind laugh. "Building what?" "A mediocre life. No, thank you." She started gathering her things, stuffing clothes and toiletries into a bag. I just sat there, too stunned to move. Before she walked out the door, she turned back and delivered the final blow. "You know what? You will always be here waiting for me anyway. Guys like you never move on. You do not have options." Then she was gone. I sat alone in my apartment for hours that night, staring at the chair where she used to sit, wondering how I had been so blind, wondering what was wrong with me that made me so easy to discard. The months after Brooke left were the darkest of my life. I went through the motions of living, but I was not really alive. I woke up, went to work, came home, and stared at the ceiling until I fell asleep. Then I did it all over again. Food lost its taste. Music lost its melody. Everything felt gray and meaningless. Marcus tried to help. He would show up at my door with pizza and beer, trying to drag me out to watch a game or grab dinner. Most of the time I made excuses. I did not want company. I did not want sympathy. I wanted to disappear. I lost 15 pounds in 3 months. My clothes hung off me like they belonged to someone else. At work, my performance suffered. My manager pulled me aside and warned me that I needed to get my act together or there would be consequences. I could not even bring myself to care. The lowest point came one night when I was mindlessly scrolling through Instagram. A photo appeared on my feed, Brooke and Derek in Paris, standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. She was wearing a new Chanel bag and smiling like she had never been happier. The caption read, "Living my best life with my king." I threw my phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, and I did not bother to pick it up for 3 days. She had already forgotten I existed. The turning point came unexpectedly. One Sunday afternoon, my mother showed up at my apartment unannounced. I had not been returning her calls, so she drove 2 hours from Eugene to check on me. When I opened the door, I saw her face fall. My apartment was a disaster. Dirty dishes piled in the sink, clothes scattered everywhere, and me looking like a ghost of the person I used to be. She did not say anything at first. She just walked in, looked around, and then looked at me. Tears started rolling down her cheeks. "Oh, honey," she whispered. "What has happened to you?" That broke something in me. I started crying too. I told her everything. About Brooke, about the cheating, about the cruel words, about feeling like I was worthless. My mother listened without interrupting. When I finished, she took my hands in hers. "Listen to me," she said firmly. "You are giving her power over your life. She does not deserve that power. The best thing you can do right now is become the man she was too foolish to see." Those words landed differently than all the other advice I had received. Maybe it was because they came from my mother. Maybe I was finally ready to hear them. Either way, something shifted inside me that day. I decided to rebuild. I started small. I cleaned my apartment. I bought groceries and cooked a real meal for the first time in months. I got a new phone. Then I joined a gym and committed to going every morning before work. Physical activity became my therapy. Every mile I ran, every weight I lifted, I felt a little bit of the pain leaving my body. I started eating better, sleeping better. The fog began to lift, but I knew I needed more than just physical recovery. I found a therapist who specialized in relationship trauma. Talking through my feelings with a professional helped me understand patterns I had never noticed before. I learned that my self-worth had become dangerously tied to Brooke's approval. I had lost myself trying to be what she wanted. Never again. I also threw myself into my career. I enrolled in an advanced certification program for machine learning and artificial intelligence. I spent my evenings studying building projects, expanding my skills. The same energy I had wasted trying to please Brooke, I now invested in myself. Marcus reintroduced me to social life slowly. He convinced me to join a local hiking group that met every Saturday. At first, I went just to get him off my back. But I found myself actually enjoying it. Meeting new people. Having conversations that had nothing to do with my past. Feeling normal again. 1 year after Brooke left, I got promoted to senior software engineer. My manager told me my recent work had been exceptional, particularly a machine learning project I had developed. A venture capital firm had even expressed interest in the concept. That conversation planted a seed. Within 6 months, I had left my comfortable job to start my own company with 2 colleagues who believed in my vision. We built AI solutions for small businesses that could not afford enterprise-level technology. The first year was brutal. We worked out of a converted garage, survived on ramen and determination, and nearly ran out of money twice. But we did not give up. 18 months after launching, we secured significant funding from a prominent investment firm. We moved into a real office in the Pearl District. We hired 10 employees. The company I had built from nothing was actually becoming something. I bought a condo overlooking the Willamette River. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because I had earned it. Because I deserved it. More importantly, I had found myself again. I knew who I was outside of a relationship. I knew my value did not depend on anyone else's opinion of me. It was around this time that I met Megan. She was part of the hiking group, a graphic designer with paint-stained fingers and a laugh that echoed through the forest trails. We became friends first, which was exactly what I needed. No pressure, no expectations, just two people who enjoyed each other's company. When friendship eventually became something more, it felt completely different from what I had experienced with Brooke. Megan did not care about my job title or my bank account. She fell in love with who I was, not what I could provide. For the first time in my life, I understood what a healthy relationship actually looked like. 4 years after our breakup, I heard through Marcus what had happened to Brooke. The fairy tale she had chased had crumbled spectacularly. Derek, it turned out, was not the wealthy executive he pretended to be. His flashy lifestyle was funded entirely by credit cards and loans. The BMW was leased. The designer suits were bought on payment plans he could not afford. He was drowning in debt and hiding it behind a facade of success. 2 years into their relationship, Derek cheated on Brooke with a younger coworker. He left her with the same cold indifference she had shown me. Karma, some would say. But it got worse. The boutique where Brooke worked closed down during an economic downturn. She lost her job and could not find another position that matched her expensive tastes. She tried to start an online clothing store, but it failed within months. The credit card debt she had accumulated trying to maintain her lifestyle became unmanageable. Eventually, she had to sell everything. The designer bags, the jewelry, the shoes, all the symbols of the life she thought she deserved. She moved back in with her parents in a small town outside Portland, the same small town she had always been desperate to escape. When Marcus told me all of this, I waited for satisfaction. For that rush of vindication you are supposed to feel when karma finally arrives. But I felt nothing, just a vague sadness for someone who had wasted so much of her life chasing the wrong things. Then came the text message. 5 years after she walked out, Brooke reached out. "Hi, it has been a long time. Are you still single?" I stared at those words in that coffee shop rain still falling outside and marveled at the audacity. A few minutes later, another message arrived. "I heard you are doing really well now. I always knew you had potential." Then another. "I made a mistake leaving you. I was young and stupid." And finally, "Can we meet? I miss what we had." I did not respond right away. I needed time to think about what I wanted to say if I wanted to say anything at all. Then I looked up and saw Megan walking toward the coffee shop, umbrella in hand, waving at me through the window with that smile that still made my heart skip. I realized I did not owe Brooke anything. Not my anger, not my forgiveness, not even an explanation. But I decided to meet her anyway. Not for her. For myself. For closure. 1 week later, I walked into a different coffee shop and saw her sitting in a corner booth. The transformation was startling. The confident, radiant woman I had fallen in love with 7 years ago was gone. In her place sat someone who looked exhausted by life. Her clothes were simple, her makeup minimal, her posture defeated. She stood up when she saw me, attempting a smile. "You look amazing. Success really suits you." I sat down across from her. "How have you been, Brooke?" What followed was 20 minutes of confession. She admitted to everything. The cheating, the cruelty, the arrogance. She said she had spent years regretting how she treated me. She claimed she finally understood what really mattered in life. Then she asked the question I knew was coming. "Do you think we could try again? I am different now. I have changed." I let the silence stretch between us. I thought about the nights I had spent crying over this woman. The months I had wasted feeling worthless because of her words. The journey I had taken to rebuild myself from the wreckage she left behind. 5 years ago, I said finally, you told me I would always be here waiting for you. You said I did not have options. She flinched at her own words thrown back at her. You were wrong, I continued, about everything. I was never waiting for you, Brooke. I was growing. I was becoming someone I am actually proud of. And I found someone who loves me for who I am not, for what I might become or what I can give her. Tears started falling down her cheeks. I am so sorry. I was so stupid. I did not know what I had. I know, I said, and I meant it. I could see her regret was genuine, but regret is not a time machine. It cannot undo the damage. It cannot erase the scars. I do not hate you, I told her honestly. I stopped hating you a long time ago, but there is no place for you in my life anymore. That door closed, and I have no intention of opening it again. I stood up, left money on the table for my untouched coffee, and walked out without looking back. That evening I drove home to find Megan curled up on the couch with a book, our cat sleeping on her lap. She looked up when I walked in. How did it go? I sat down beside her and let out a long breath. It was closure, something I did not know I needed until I got it. She took my hand and squeezed it. Are you okay? Yeah, I said. And for the first time in a long time, I truly meant it. I really am. Later that night, we walked along the river as the sun set over Portland. The sky was painted in oranges and pinks, and the city lights were just beginning to flicker on. Megan's hand was warm in mine, and I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. I thought about everything that had led me to this moment. The love I thought was real, the betrayal that shattered me, the darkness that nearly consumed me, the slow, painful, beautiful process of putting myself back together. Brooke once thought I would be waiting forever. She believed I had no options, no future, no worth beyond what I could offer her. She was so convinced of my mediocrity that she never bothered to look deeper. She missed everything. The truth is, I was never waiting. I was growing, changing, becoming. And sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is simply living a life so full, so meaningful, so genuinely happy that you forget you ever wanted revenge in the first place. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone leave you because they thought you were not good enough? Did life show them how wrong they were? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more stories about resilience, growth, and the unexpected ways life has a habit of balancing the scales. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. Thank you so much for watching. No matter where you are in your journey, remember this. Your value is not determined by anyone who fails to see it. Keep growing. Keep building. Keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. Until next time, take care of yourself.